everyone. Thanks for joining one more time. Uh, Today we're going to see a new lesson, or let's say the second part of the lesson, which is called How to Beat the Blues. And we will cover the part of functions. As you know, my name is Eduardo Rocha Alvarez. I'm an English teacher by Británico. I'm a law student at Antonio Ruiz de Montoya University, and I'm a former teenage leader. So one more time, I'm so happy to have you here. Let's begin. Today, this is the content we're going to cover. It's divided into 4 points. The first point is talking about feelings and states. The second point is following advice. The third point is showing ways to cheer someone up. And finally, remembering sayings and quotes. Okay, as you can see in the picture on the right, there are 8 people and they are with different facial expressions, right? Some of them are surprised, others are happy or yelling, and they are in different moods or different, they are showing different feelings or emotions. Okay, so we are all like these people. But let's see more in detail what I'm talking about. Let's see more in detail. Talking about feelings and states, that's the first point we're going to cover today. Okay, and let me tell you this. When you talk about a feeling, you express what is in your mind. You know that in our mind, we store our thoughts and our emotions. So when we have a thought, like we thought we should be happy for a reason, then we feel that and we express that. How do we express that? Through a state. So as to continue, let's see the definition of each one. It says a feeling is an emotion such as love or anger. What's the duration of a feeling? It's normally temporary, okay? We're not happy all the time. Maybe if we get what we want or what we was expecting, then we get happy. But after some minutes or some hours, then we're not happy anymore, okay? And what about the state? A state is a person's mood and the effect that mood has on the person's thinking and behavior. It could last many days, for example, joy, and that's the difference between happiness and joy, because joy lasts more time than happiness. Okay, let's see some cases in order to clarify this and illustrate what I was talking about a while ago. Case 1, your friends want to gather to celebrate a birthday, but we're during COVID times, which means that it's not wise to meet up with other people, maybe some people that you don't know. Some of them are your friends, but others, you know that it can be relatives or maybe neighbors, you don't know. So perhaps they have COVID and you can get the disease. You ask your mom for permission and she does not let you go. Okay, so on the right, we have the possible reactions. Okay, 3 possible reactions to this situation. The first one is you get mad and insist. Like, hey, please, mom, let me go. All of my friends are going to be there. And I also want to go because that's going to be the party of the year. And I can't miss it. No, please let me go. And you insist as if you were a child. And that could be your reaction. You know better than I do. The second possible reaction can be you stay calm and explain your reasons. Maybe you say, Mom, you know, he or she is one of my best friends ever, and he's such a good friend, or she is such a good friend. And it's so important for me to go because we have been organizing this party for 3 months now, and your mom listens to you. And the third possible reaction is you disagree but understand the situation and have concern. Okay, so you don't agree with her, but at the same time, you notice that it can be risky to go to a place that is not your house. Okay, so what do we see in the pictures? What do we see here? In the first picture, we see a cake with candles, and they are celebrating a birthday. And on the second picture, we see a lady doing a video call or having a video call with her friends. And they are probably celebrating her birthday because they seem like enjoying and having a good time together. So these kind of meetings are so common nowadays that we are in quarantine, at least here in Peru. Okay, let's see a second case. You're walking on the street and a pedestrian hits your arm and your handbag falls down. Possible reactions. The first one, you get upset and ask them to be more careful. Perhaps in a polite way, because that could happen. It doesn't say that here you are being impolite. The second reaction, you take the handbag and tell them not to worry. You can say, hey, these things happen, so do not worry, it's fine. I get it. And the third possible reaction could be you insult them in a very rude way. Of course, that's not what we're meant to do when these kind of things happen, because I don't think that that was on purpose. It doesn't say that this person wanted to rob you. It just says that it was probably an accident. So you need to be like more respectful, more patient. And at the bottom, we have a picture where we see some ladies walking probably in a big city because there are lots of lights there. Let's see a third case. You have a date with your partner at 4 p.m., but he or she arrives 30 minutes late. What would you do? What would you do? What would your reaction be? We have three possible reactions for this case too. Okay, the first reaction is you get really angry and start arguing. You start arguing. And maybe you say things like, why did you come late? I was waiting for you. Even before our date, I arrived here at 3:45 and I've been waiting for you for 45 minutes. It's not fair for me to wait so long. I hope that this is the last time you do it because next time I'm not going to forgive you and things like this. That could be the scenario. The second possible reaction could be you get worried and ask him or her what happened. Because maybe he or she didn't do it on purpose and you are blaming him or blaming her on that. And that's what you can do instead of just arguing. Then we have a third possible reaction. You take it easy and enjoy his or her presence. You say, everybody's late sometime. Like, I totally understand you. Do not worry, take it easy. And in the picture at the bottom, we see a couple, probably they are having a nice meal, like a romantic dinner in front of the beach, and they are talking and they are falling in love more and more. And even though he or she was late for the date. And finally, this fourth case. You got a full scholarship to study abroad for 6 months. Of course, that's good news because if you got that scholarship, that was because you applied for that. It didn't came from the heaven. So here you have 3 possible reactions. You get sad as you do not want to be far away from your family because you think that you will get home sick. The second possible reaction is you get surprised at this. And finally, you rejoice at it and analyze the situation. Maybe you put it all the things on the table, like the pros, the cons, and maybe what do you need to carry, what you need to pack, what you need to buy, and the language they speak in the country you're going, in your destination. So you're in front of a totally new situation. Okay, now we need to talk about following advice. Okay, why is important to follow advice? Because we don't know everything. We always need to listen to other people and perhaps more experienced people, people that have done the same things that we are about to do. And we need to learn, okay? Maybe, or we may not be students all of our lives, but we're all constantly learning. And that's the aim, that's the objective in our lives. So here you have some steps you need to take and I need to take so as to follow advice. The first step we have to take into consideration would be asking for advice. The second would be giving advice and finally responding to advice. Okay, why is it important to ask for advice? Because if we do not ask for advice, we cannot expect a person to give us advice. We cannot expect a person to give us advice. If we're not given advice, we cannot follow advice. Okay, so first we need to ask. Then we need to receive the advice. And finally, we need to follow advice. Because sometimes it happens that we just ask for advice, but we do not follow what the other person is telling us to do. And we can see a mom with her child and she's talking to him, maybe because he had a bad day at school, or probably because he did something that he shouldn't have done. How can we ask for advice? Okay, here I have at least 5 different ways to ask for advice. And I think in total they are 10, but let's read the first 5. I need some advice. I think that's the simplest way for asking. Then you can say, I have no idea what to do. I am lost. What do you think? I think that's very sincere from one to say that. Also, what do you think I should do? And finally, what would you recommend? Okay. When we talk about advice, we talk about getting help or support or trying to listen to new tips, getting assistance or guidance. We can also ask for advice by saying these sentences or questions. What do you suggest? Have you got any ideas? I would appreciate your advice. What would you advise me to do? And what would you do if you were me? So basically, what would you do if you were in my situation? As I'm so overwhelmed because of my situation, I cannot see beyond the limits of my side. I need someone else to direct me. I need someone else to guide me. I need someone else to lead me and help me get out of the situation I am. because situations are temporary. They're not eternal. They're not everlasting. The only thing that is everlasting is death. That's why it said that every problem has a solution. Or in other words, for every problem, there is a solution, except for death. And while there is life, there is hope. So please do not get so stressed or anxious or depressed by the situations you are going through, because there is a way out, thanks God. Then the next step would be giving advice, okay? After you have asked for advice, you need to receive it. You need to receive it also, but so as to receive a piece of advice, it's recommendable for you to be prepared to give advice when a person requires that from you. How can you give advice? By saying this. You could always, and a verb, my advice would be to, what you need to do is, and you give some instructions. One thing you could do is, like, when you say one thing, you're telling that that's not the only alternative, but there are more than one alternative. There is more than one alternative. Have you thought about, like, trying to make the other person think on their own? What else? It is generally a good idea to, and you add a verb in the infinitive form. If I were you, I would. It would probably be better to. I think your only option is to. The sooner you, the better. The sooner you go to college, the better you will graduate. And if you graduate, you can get a better job position. Well, normally, in normal conditions, let's say. What do we see in the picture on the right? Apparently, they are two business people, two businessmen that are talking about some important issues. And they are having a drink. I don't know if that's beer or any other kind of beverage, but they seem to be so interested and so focused on the topic they are talking about. Because the guy on the right, at least he put his glasses at the side, like expressing that, hey, I want to look at you directly with my eyes. I don't want this object or these glasses to interrupt the communication between you and me. But let's continue, okay? And the other guy, the one with the white shirt, he is listening very carefully to the guy on the right. So apparently he's receiving advice, and the other guy is giving advice to him. But let's move on. Ways to respond to some advice. Okay, so the first step was asking for advice, then giving advice, and now we have responding to some advice. There are two big ways to respond to some advice. Okay, the first step, or the first way would be positively, and the second way would be negatively. Okay, so here we have 6 different forms to respond positively. That's a good idea. I think you are right. I will do that. I never thought of that. Yes, that might help. I will give it a try and see what happens. Okay, those are different ways to respond in a positive way. Okay, now, what do we see in the picture on the right, and why did I put it there? What do you think? Okay, please think a little bit about it. Okay, we see 5 different people, and what they are trying to do, they are trying to solve a puzzle. Okay, and a puzzle, okay, it's a unity, but what they have there on their shoulder is pieces of this big puzzle. And what they are trying to do is to find the right pieces. And that's basically what we do, let's say metaphorically talking, when we ask for advice. Somehow we don't have the whole information and we need to get it from someone else. And when we get it, we have the complete thing and we are surprised. We're amazed at that. And that's very, very nice. That's why we live in society. Some people believe they live in an island and they can do whatever they want and they don't need to listen to other people. And what they say is a rule or it's mandatory, but it's not like this. It's not like this. It doesn't work that way. So be careful if you're this kind of persons. Then we have a negative way to respond to some advice. No, I do not think so. Or you can say, I see you have a point, but I do not think that would help. I am not convinced of that, but I will think about it. That's a polite way to say like, hey, I don't think what you say is true, but let me think about it anyway. I do not think that's a solution, but thanks anyway. I have already tried that, but thank you for the suggestion. Okay, so if you don't want to sound rude, you need to include this kind of responses. Okay, now let's see some ways to cheer someone up. Okay, so as to do this, okay, we need to show that. That's why I put emphasis, special emphasis on the first word, showing ways to cheer someone up. That means that it's not enough if you have the intention to encourage someone to do a certain thing or to think in a specific way, but you need to express that. How do we express that? Especially by actions. We can speak, we can tell them good words or words of encouragement, but we need to show that we care about someone by doing certain actions. Okay, and we have here some ways to cheer someone up. Go on a walk with them. Why do you think it's important to go on a walk with them? Because this way they can feel more relaxed. Maybe you can go to a nice place like a park or forest, the mountains or the beach. And while walking, of course, you're not going to be silent. You're going to be talking with this person. And if you talk, you can get to know more about the way he or she thinks, how he or she feels, what are their necessities, what are they longing for, and so on. So you will discover a lot of things. And that will be really helpful for the person who is maybe discouraged or is demotivated. You can be of help. So whenever you have the possibility, please go on a walk with them. I do remember that when I was in Cajamarca a couple of years ago, okay, I went to visit a friend of mine that I met at Británico. And one day he told me, hey, let's go for a walk. And I have never received such a suggestion. And I was so happy to listen to this friend because I was a bit bored at home and we had such a good time together because he's a good friend also. So whenever you have the chance, be a good friend, because if you want to have friends, you need to be a good friend first. The second way to cheer someone up would be make their favorite food. Oh, okay, imagine that your favorite food is causa or papa la huancaína. I don't know, that could be your case, but when we eat something that we really like, we are in a good mood all that day because we're getting something tasty to our tongue. So it's so nice that we don't even have to buy that dish. We don't pay for that, but also we don't have to make it. We only receive it and eat. That's what I always say. I don't like cooking, but I like eating, like many Peruvians do. Okay, then give them chocolate. Chocolate has especially ingredients that when you eat it, you feel happy. And actually, that's why it's recommendable for a depressed person to eat chocolate. Then we have take them to their favorite place. Okay, if your favorite place is a special city, maybe you can take them if you have a car or if you have some money to get them tickets. And if not, you can go to maybe a place nearby your neighborhood and have fun together. Meditate with them. Why? Because a person who needs to be cheered also needs to think more in detail, okay? They need to filter all the things that comes to their mind. Why? Because negative thinking can control or can exercise control over them if they are not careful and if they let every single form of thinking, especially negative, be in their mind. And that's not meant to be this way. What else? Go on window shopping. Okay, you know what window shopping means? That means that you go to the shopping mall or you go to a supermarket, but you don't get anything, maybe because you don't have the money or maybe because you don't want to spend money, uh, or maybe because you go out just to relax and enjoy yourself, but not because you need uh, something from a special store. Okay, so basically window shopping means that. And many people, especially women, love this kind of activity. Then help them with the housework. Yes, there are a lot of housework to do, especially if it's a big house where you live in. So it will be very cute from you if you offer your help. What else? Suggest that they get professional help. In some occasions, your help won't be enough, so direct them to a psychologist or to a psychiatrist. Play sports with them. It could be board games now that we are confined at home. It could be Monopoly, it could be drafts, it could be chess, playing cards, and so on, or video games if you like it, if you like them. And tell them jokes. Yes, you know, when we laugh, we have like a special sensation in our bodies and in our souls. So it's always good to be happy. Okay, here we have 5 more things to do when cheering someone up. Organize a surprise party for them. Yes, I mean, in general, parties are a good option when talking about celebrating a birthday or when talking about graduating or maybe a wedding party. So if you don't have to plan anything and you just receive it with a lot of good food and good people as well, it can be such an amazing surprise. You will see the face of the person who is being cheered up, and he or she will thank you forever. Then play games with them. Okay, I already said that, but it's always good to emphasize. Oh, okay, the other thing was playing sports with them. Okay, and I said play games, but now play games, play sports. It could be football, volleyball, basketball, swimming, tennis, and other sports. And just spending time with them would be very much appreciated. Why? Because people who are discouraged, they feel lonely many times, and they need someone to be by their side. If you are this kind of friend who offers them to be there, and maybe you don't talk, you don't say anything, and neither of you say anything, but you are there like showing, hey, you matter, you are my friend, and I love you, and I want you to feel okay. What else? Listen and let them know they matter, and tell them phrases of encouragement. Okay, as I said, actions speak louder than words. But that doesn't mean that we don't have to say any kind word. Okay, so let's see some phrases that I can say to encourage someone. Never give up. Like, continue doing what you are doing and at the same pace. And if you sometimes need to slow down, do it, but keep moving forward. Okay. Then stay strong. No matter what situation you're passing through, you need to get the strength from from yourself, from your family, from your friends, from nature. You need to stay strong, otherwise you will be very weak, and that's not the thing. Come on, you can do it. Okay, sometimes we think that we're not capable for achieving goals, and we need someone to tell us this. Keep fighting, yes, because life is like a fight, and if you are not like a warrior, you will lose it. Don't give up, okay? Don't give up. And we can see the picture on the right. We have a man doing physical exercise, and the lady is encouraging him to continue doing and not giving up. Okay, and finally, last but not least, we have remembering sayings and quotes. Okay, sayings are like common phrases that people, especially in a specific location, say and use and repeat them from generation to generation orally. Okay, nowadays they are written on the internet, on books, but in the past, everything was orally spoken from parents to children, from children to their children, and so on. So here we have some quotes as well. Okay, quotes are words that a particular author say. And we have this from Benjamin Franklin. Well done is better than well said. Okay, as I mentioned before, we can do or we can say various things, but it's especially useful if we do not only say things, but if we do actions, if we take actions. And we have another quote by Mahatma Gandhi: where there is love, there is life. Okay, where there is love, there is life. Love is such a powerful thing. That's why it said you need to love yourself, or you need to love your neighbor as you love yourself. Okay, that's a principle. Then we have some sayings here, okay? It doesn't have author or because they are anonymous. Try it again, fall again, fail again, fail better. What does it mean? That the more you try, okay, the more failures you will have, that's true. But what happens if you don't even try? Okay, that would be the problem, because people who make mistakes are those who fail or who try things. People who don't make mistakes, that's because they don't even try, and that's not the purpose. You need to try no matter what. Then we have another saying: if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. In other words, if you do not have any chance, you need to create that chance. So imagine that you are unemployed in a remote city, okay, very, very far away from the downtown. You need a job, you need money so as to eat and so as to get the basic supplies, but nobody hires you. What will you do? Maybe if you have enough money, you can create your own company, or perhaps you can do some business, you can sell things, and that way you will be building doors, and probably you can even do with other people what other people did not do for you, which is hiring, giving them some job positions, and that will be amazing. Finally, 3 other sayings. You cannot have a positive life and a negative mind. Yes, mind is so powerful. And our mind directs our thoughts, our feelings, emotions, and what we think, that's what we normally do, okay? So our actions are, or reflects, our action reflect what we think, how we think, and what we feel. Then don't raise your voice, improve your argument. Yes, when you have a discussion with someone, you don't need to yell at them because they are uh, just some meters away from you. What you need to do is to argue better. And finally, it's during our darkest moments that we must focus to see the light. What does it mean? It means that we need to focus on the positive things we have in life, the thing we have, and not about on the things we do not have. Sometimes we have everything, but we don't notice because we have never been poor, we have always had education, we have always had a dish of food on our table, and we don't know what being starving is. So we say, oh, I wish I had a better or a bigger house. I wish I lived in Europe or in Canada. But okay, you live in Peru. Love your country, love where you are, love your family. Okay, appreciate what you have. Okay, time flew. Now we are in the section of conclusions. Okay, we have here 4 conclusions. The first one would be a feeling is temporary and is normally caused by external factors. So maybe you get good news and you feel happy, or you get bad news and you feel sad. But those feelings of happiness or sadness are temporary, while the mood is how we react to those feelings. Okay, maybe if you are good, or if you are happy, you can be in a good mood. And on the contrary, if you feel confused, you are in a bad mood because you don't know what to do or what to say. The second conclusion would be, in order to follow advice, we first need to ask for or be given advice. Yes, because if we don't reach out to other people when we need it, and they won't guess what we need. So we need to talk, we need to communicate. We need to let them know that we need support. The third conclusion would be there are many ways to cheer someone up, sometimes with words and many times with actions. Remember, actions speak louder than words. Okay, so whenever you have the possibility to help someone, please do it. Show them they matter. And finally, saying and quotes summarize some pieces of advice well. Yes, that's true. And we were talking about this last saying and quotes. Those are very, very helpful. Okay, so we have come to the end of today's session. Now it's time for you to ask questions. If you have any doubts, do not hesitate to ask because this is the time. And I will be waiting a couple of seconds here while you share your questions or your doubts or maybe your comments. They will be very much appreciated. Okay, one more time, as you are seeing on this slide, the conference has come to an end, and now it's time for you to ask questions. Well, if you do not have any questions, let's call it a day. Here you have my personal information. That's my name, Eduardo Rocha. There you have my email and my WhatsApp, my phone number, 997-935-804. You can feel free to text me or call me if I'm available. I will be very glad to get your call. Thank you very much for joining today and see you next time. Bye.